Hey YouTube, it's your beekeeper here. What are we going to do? We're going to mess with this model year 1969, but first year registered 1970 Cardinal Deluxe travel trailer, camping trailer, whatever you want to call it. It's called a few different things, but what are we doing? I bought this thing in like October of 2018. I probably used it half a dozen times. Not probably. I've used it half a dozen times. And it's cozy. It's perfect, right? It's 10 foot long. From that box to this box, or that wall, excuse me, to that wall is 10 foot. It's like 7 foot wide. It's 12 foot bumper to tongue. It's perfect. It's tiny. It's easy to move around. It's light, and it is exactly what I need it to be, which is basic, right? I don't go camping to use a microwave, even though I don't use microwaves. I don't go camping to watch television because I could give two craps about TV. I go to do what I got to do, and I don't want to have a big burden of flat screen TVs and AC units and all that stuff. But that's just me. If that's your camping style, that's fantastic. I like my sleeping bag. I like my cup of coffee in the morning. I got my sink so I can wash my hands. I got my stove so I can cook things. I got an ice box to chill things. But what don't I have in here? What don't I have in here? This is not original. This thing here, this seat used to come all the way out to here. You can tell by that rail. So the bed used to all come out to here. It's a pretty good sized bed. Although it's not bad, right? I'm 6'2". I can sleep this way, head that way, you know, foot that way. If I take these things down, 7 foot. So it's, I mean, I fit that way. So the previous owner, or whoever previous to me owning it, had added this little shelving unit here. They had originally, if you remember, they had put the ice box in there and just left that open, which was ridiculous. So I moved that out of there. I put it in there. I keep stuff and supplies in here. Towels, because you always need to towel yourself off. And stuff and things, right? But what am I adding? That's right. Let's go back here. We're getting distracted. Oh, and at some point in time, the previous owner cut the bottom out of the door. The door, I suspect, went down. I think it's like down to about here if you look at the framework on the inside. And I suspect what they didn't want to do is they didn't want to have this door like swing into their stuff if they had stuff here. But they did it poorly. They just cut the bottom off of it. I mean, they didn't care. And the door's kind of coming apart. But that's going to get fixed. And let me show you what's going on with that. So this thing has everything I want, right? It's got a 110 system. It has a 12 volt system. It only has 2 lights. It's got this nice dual fixture light here. There's your 12 volt light switch, your 110. Got 110 there when you're on shore power, generator power. Got a propane light here. I don't really use it because it stinks, and I don't mind using battery stuff. It's got the same thing here, the dual filament here. I ended up putting a pull chain here to do the outdoor light. Got a deep cycle battery that I put into this thing. The deep cycle battery charges off of the trailer plug. This came with a 7-blade trailer plug. I don't know why they went so crazy. It's probably what their tow rig had, which works fine for me. So I grabbed the battery charge. Shut up, dog. I grabbed the battery charger off this. So anyway, I can clip it to that and charge the battery as you drive. So what is this missing? I mean, you know, that's okay. So what is this missing, right? We've got a nice sofa or seating, a nice table. I want to reupholster this. I don't know if you remember it. They had covered in some funky stuff before. It was weird. It was like kind of a blue and orange and kind of Miami Dolphins colors. So I pulled all that off and I found this. And this isn't even the original fabric. The original fabric is underneath this, which is kind of this gold, shiny gold sparkly thing, which I'm not going to keep. Oh, it has a floor heater too, but I don't use a floor heater because I don't really care about that. But I'm going to cover it in like this is a green burlap. So I got a bunch of this at Michael's. It was on some remnant. It's like 40 bucks worth of fabric. I'm going to recover all these seats to make it kind of this kind of OD green. Distracted. Oh, let me show you what the upgrade is on this tiny little trailer. I like camping where I like to camp. I like to take that big fat Dodge right there. In this case, it used to be the red Dodge, but now it's going to be that big fat Dodge right there. drive to where I got to drive to, set up camp, and call it good. I've got my 10 by 10 pop-up canopy. I've got my shower in a can. I don't think I ever did a video on this. But what I did was I got a 2.5 gallon Hudson sprayer, the Super Hudson sprayer. And then through one of my kitchen remodels, you can get this anywhere. This is for the sink, right? This is a sprayer for a sink. It's got about a 6-foot cord on it. And I adapted it to fit the Hudson sprayer. It's really simple. I just cut the old cord, the old thing off. I got a brass adapter from the Home Depot. It was $4.63 from whatever this is, a 3/8 barbed fitting to the 1/2 inch national pipe thread. And then this sink sprayer fits right on there. So you put water in this thing, pump it up. I haven't used this yet, but it's proof of concept. So you pump this thing up real good. And then this is how you can wash your hair, you can wash your feet, you can wash your butt, whatever you need if you're out in the middle of nowhere. And my plan for this, though, is to paint it flat black. So I can fill it with water, leave it out in the sun during the day when you're camping, and then at the end of the day when you come back and you're dirty or whatever, you got nice warm water. Although, you know, cold water doesn't bother me, but if you want warmer water, shut up, dog. Really? Hold on. So one of the things this has really been lacking, this should be nice actually, like I said, pressurized water to kind of wash your feet and whatever, whatnot. I mean, this has the pump right here, so if you want to wash your hands in here, that's kind of nice. Got my sleeping bags, a variety of sleeping bags and bedding and whatnot. They're all clean. I keep them in these plastic bins. What I've been missing, ready? You want to see the big upgrade? What's up? Now, again, pooping in the woods. Who wants to poop in the woods at night, right? I spent a lot of time doing research on toilets. Probably way too much, and my search history looks probably pretty weird at this point, but I didn't want to bring this wall out anymore. I have 17 inches to work with. And I was thinking that I didn't want a toilet that I had to pick up a poo tank, a cartridge, and dump out, right? I don't want to carry poo tanks around. I don't want to bring it in the house when I come back from my camping trip and dump it into my toilet. You know, I don't want to pick it up and dump it in a truck stop toilet or whatever. I didn't want to deal with that. That's nasty. So this thing sits really low to the ground. It's not designed to have a holding tank. It doesn't have any kind of holding tanks. That sink drains directly out, right? You got about a 10-gallon can here, or a water tank there, non-potable. I'm sure it was potable at one point in time, but I would never drink out of that mess. And then the sink drains into here. This is the dump out. This is the vent for the sink. So I was thinking I would do a tank that would be mounted on the inside of the trailer, right? I don't want it hanging underneath because I don't want to run it into anything. So where does that leave me? That leaves me with tiny little toilets. So I found this one, Jabsco marine toilet. I bought it used off of Craigslist. Yeah, I know, used toilets are gross, but it's super clean, hardly used. It works well. I've already drawn up some water into it. They're for 40 bucks, right? 40 bucks for that little Jabsco toilet. It's awesome. It's got a ceramic bowl, which is what I wanted, right? And another thing too about those cartridge toilets is they're cheap, right? It's cheap plastic. You set it and they creak and they groan. And this one's porcelain. So that the bowl is porcelain. This is wood toilet seat, even though that's tiny, right? If I sit on that to deuce, my dink's going to be hanging out down to here. However, it's nice because it's solid. And I'll show you the operation. I can show it in another video. But so I'm thinking that you would back into this, right? I don't want to sit sideways with my legs going that way. I want to be able to back into it. This thing is 17 inches wide. It's a little narrow, a little tight, and I could probably get away with just doing that. So I'm going to buy a tank. I can fit a holding tank in here. It doesn't need to be more than about 10-gallon tank, right? Because I'm just saying, you're not going to do more than 3, 4, 5 days in this camper anyway. And if you can, well, whatever. There's certain logistics about camping and pooping and when you use this versus when you haul off into the trees and do what you got to do. But my thinking in here is I'm going to stretch this. This is 17. I'm going to stretch it to be 24 inches, which would put the opening 24 inches, which would put the end of the framework like right about here. Okay, so it would give me 12 inches of open shelf space. I'm going to add another shelf here. I'll get 12 inches of open shelf space. It won't affect this overhead cabinet here. And I get a 24-inch opening, which is wider than my shoulders by just a little bit. But you know, this is not for comfort. You're not going to sit on this thing for an hour and read a Sears catalog. You're going to do what you got to do, get on with your day. And then what I've done is I've taken a bunch of measurements, and I can figure out what kind of tank I can put in here. There are tons of rectangular tanks on the internet. I can fit in here probably between a 9 and a 14 gallon holding tank. And yeah, 6 or 7 inches tall, right? Okay, that was the other thing too. The seat height right now, this is designed to set on a shelf anyhow in a boat, right? This is all marine stuff. And I can get a 6 or 7 inch tall tank. So a standard household toilet is between about 16 and 19 and 3/4 inches tall. So this is 12 inches tall. So I can get about a 7-inch tall tank, 17 inches deep, and I've got about 42 inches to work with, which would put a tank from that inner lip there to where I'm going to end up building this wall over. And somewhere in that time, in that size constraint, I can get between about a 9 and a 14 gallon holding tank. I want one that's sloped and has a bottom discharge, right? So the thinking is I'm going to drill a hole, cut a hole in the bottom here, have the discharge go straight down, put a 90, and then put just a standard old sanitary dump, right? And then you can hook up a hose like this, which I bought at a Goodwill store about a year ago for $1. So this gives me it's a standard RV flush hose, 10 foot. I don't know if I like this necessarily because it's smooth on the inside, but I may get a different hose. Like I said, it's only $1, so I'm not into it for anything. But then, you know, you connect your hose to the dump, you put the flexible line into your sewer dump, and then you just pull the open thing and go. And if you really wanted to, you could just flush a bunch of clean water in there to spray it out. I may put a hose bib fitting in there. You're going to treat a tank anyway with RV holding tank sanitizer. Yeah, so stay tuned. There's going to be some fun videos on this. I'm going to reconfigure this whole framework here. I've got a 15 amp Murray panel here. Single fuse does the 2 receptacles and lights. But what I want to do is it has space for a second one. I'm going to put a second 15 amp fuse, and I'm going to put a receptacle right here, because another one for the Goodwill shopping, right? Is I found this guy. It's a 400 watt heater that plugs into a standard receptacle. You got an on-off switch. You can adjust the speed of the fan and the timer on when you want it to shut off. And I'm thinking if I put a receptacle here, I could plug that in right there, and when you're on shore power or generator power and you want to heat the place, which you have to do anyway, this little guy I paid $1 for, little handy heater, 400 watt. Right now what I've been using is this. If it's cold, I'll use like this guy here. This is a good one. Right, but these are almost too big for these little camping trailers, to tell you. Yeah, so I'll add a wire circuit for that, 15 amp circuit, so you can plug it into there. And while I'm there, I'm going to rewire the whole trailer, right? Because I'm going to have this wall torn out anyway. And make it super reliable. But this is exciting. This is actually the reason why I wanted to make this video as an intro. This is going to happen here pretty soon. So the theory is I'm going to still keep the bottom of the door, like probably something around here. But the door is going to be, for a 24-inch open, this is going to be like 25 inches wide. I'll kind of do it in this same design so it stays consistent with the rest of the camping trailer. Obviously I would not, it's a little ghetto fabulous, but I can fix that. Use the same original hardware, just bring it out here, and then of course paint all this and make it nice. But yeah, my $40 Craigslist score. Oh yeah. I love it. Alright, anyhow, that's it. I'm just out here playing and drawing and measuring. Hey, gotta go, gotta run. See ya!